Let me start with this truth, and I want you to really hear it. Time is not neutral. Time is either working for you or against you, but it never works with you. Most people think time will magically fix their life. It won't. Time doesn't reward intention. Time doesn't reward talent. Time rewards discipline. And if you choose comfort over discipline, time will collect the debt. With interest, here's the hook most people miss. Comfort feels good today, but it steals from tomorrow. Discipline feels uncomfortable today, but it pays you forever. Every time you choose comfort, you are voting against your future self. Every time you choose discipline, you are casting a vote for the life you say you want. You don't get paid for what you know. You get paid for what you do consistently, especially when you don't feel like doing it. See, lazy people love motivation. Disciplined people love systems. Comfort asks, how do I feel? Discipline asks, what does this season require? And here's the reality. Your feelings are terrible leaders. Feelings change. Principles don't. Time responds to principles. That's why two people can start in the same place with the same opportunities, and 5 years later, one is winning and the other is wondering what happened. Let me say this plainly. Time doesn't punish laziness immediately. That's why people keep choosing it. Laziness gives you short-term pleasure and long-term pain. Discipline gives you short-term pain and long-term pleasure. Most people fail not because life is hard, but because comfort is addictive. Comfort whispers, you deserve a break. Discipline says, you deserve the result. If you don't tell your time what to do, someone else will. Distraction will steal it. Comfort will waste it. Regret will explain it later. And the scary part, time will never warn you before it's gone. One day you wake up and realize years passed while you were waiting to feel ready. Discipline doesn't wait for motivation. Discipline moves first, and motivation catches up. Here's a principle wealthy. People understand, results are rented, and rent is due every day. You don't get yesterday's discipline credit for today. You can't borrow tomorrow's effort for today's comfort. Time rewards those who show up daily, quietly, consistently, when nobody is clapping and nobody is watching. Most people believe that desire is enough. They think if they want success badly enough, if they dream loudly enough, time will eventually reward them. But time doesn't respond to desire. Time responds to discipline. You can want a better life with all your heart and still stay stuck in the same place year after year because wanting costs nothing. Discipline costs effort, consistency, and sacrifice. And that's exactly why time honors it. Here's a hook most people never consider. Two people can want the same future, but only one of them will ever live it. The difference is not intelligence, luck, or background. The difference is who is willing to do what the other one keeps postponing. Time doesn't ask how badly you want it. Time asks how often you show up. Every day you either train time to work for you or you train it to work against you. Desire is emotional. Discipline is structural. Desire shows up when you feel inspired. Discipline shows up when inspiration is nowhere to be found. That's why desire creates excitement, but discipline creates results. Time compounds structure, not emotion. If your actions are inconsistent, your results will be unstable. Time will simply magnify that inconsistency and hand it back to you later as frustration. Let me put it this way. Desire sets goals, but discipline builds systems. And time doesn't reward goals. It rewards systems. Anyone can set a goal in 5 minutes. Very few people are willing to build a daily routine that supports that goal for 5 years. Time doesn't care about the size of your dream. It only cares about the size of your daily obedience to the process. Here's another truth that separates winners from wishers. Discipline looks boring in the beginning. It doesn't get applause. It doesn't feel heroic. It feels repetitive, inconvenient, and uncomfortable. That's exactly why it works. Most people quit because they're waiting for discipline to feel exciting. Time rewards those who act without needing excitement. When you choose discipline, you are making a silent agreement with time. You're saying, I may not see the reward today, but I trust the process enough to keep going. Time respects that trust. It multiplies small actions done consistently into outcomes that look miraculous to everyone else. But there is nothing magical about it. It's just discipline stacked over time. Desire loves shortcuts. Discipline loves standards. Desire asks, is this enough? Discipline asks, is this required? Time responds to what is required, not what is convenient. That's why comfort delays success and discipline accelerates it. Comfort negotiates. Discipline commits. If you rely on desire, your effort will fluctuate with your mood. Some days you'll be on fire. Other days you'll disappear. Time notices that pattern, and time pays you according to that pattern. Discipline removes decision-making from the equation. You don't ask yourself whether you feel like doing the work. You do it because it's who you've decided to become. Here's the uncomfortable hook. Time is already keeping score. Every skipped discipline, every delayed action, every excuse is being recorded. Not to punish you immediately, but to reveal the truth later. When people say time flies, what they really mean is they weren't intentional with it. Time didn't move fast, they moved without discipline. Discipline is how you turn minutes into momentum and days into destiny. Desire might get you started, but discipline is what keeps you standing when motivation collapses. Time doesn't care about your potential, it only responds to your patterns. And the moment discipline becomes your default, time shifts from being your enemy to becoming your greatest ally. Comfort is one of the most dangerous forces in the human experience because it never announces itself as a problem. It introduces itself as rest, as reward, as something you've earned. And that's the hook. Comfort doesn't attack you loudly, it disarms you quietly. By the time most people realize comfort has taken control, their ambition is already tired and their discipline is already weak. Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. Comfort is not neutral. It is a thief. It steals time, sharpness, urgency, and hunger, and it does it so gently that you don't feel the loss until years later. Comfort convinces you that tomorrow will always be available, that effort can be delayed, that growth can wait. And time never corrects that lie until the bill comes due. Comfort feels like a reward, but it's actually a cost. Every moment you choose comfort over challenge, you pay with momentum. Every time you say, I'll start later, comfort takes a small piece of your future and hides it from you. The scary part is not the loss itself, but how invisible it is while it's happening. Comfort doesn't ruin your life in a day. It erodes it slowly, quietly, and consistently. Most people think the enemy of success is failure. It's not. Failure teaches. Failure sharpens. Failure forces growth. Comfort does none of that. Comfort makes you numb. It removes pressure, and pressure is where progress lives. Without pressure, there is no expansion. Without resistance, there is no strength. Comfort removes resistance, and in doing so, it removes results. Here's a powerful hook. Comfort makes average feel acceptable. Once average feels acceptable, excellence feels unnecessary. You don't quit your dreams, you just downgrade them. You stop aiming for mastery and settle for survival. You don't stop working, you stop stretching. And time rewards stretch, not stagnation. Comfort trains you to protect your current lifestyle instead of building your future one. It teaches you to avoid discomfort at all costs, even when discomfort is the doorway to growth. The problem isn't that comfort feels good. The problem is that it teaches you to confuse feeling good with doing what's good for you. Time doesn't reward feelings. Time rewards progress. Another uncomfortable truth, comfort loves routines that require no effort. Endless scrolling, unnecessary rest, unchallenging work, familiar habits that demand nothing new from you. These things don't look destructive, but they are expensive. They cost focus, they cost hunger, they cost the edge that separates leaders from followers. Comfort dulls that edge. People under the influence of comfort often say they're waiting for the right time. That's comfort speaking in sophisticated language. Discipline creates the right time. Comfort waits for it. Time doesn't respect waiting. Time respects movement. And comfort's greatest lie is making an activity feel responsible. Comfort also creates entitlement. It convinces you that you deserve success without the struggle that produces it. It tells you that life should be easier by now, that effort should be optional. But growth has never been optional for progress. Comfort rewrites the rules in your head while time continues to play by the original ones. The most dangerous phase of comfort is when it feels justified. You worked hard before, so now you relax. You succeeded once, so now you slow down. Comfort uses your past effort to cancel your future discipline. Time doesn't care what you did before. Time only multiplies what you're doing now. Here's the final hook buried inside the truth. Comfort doesn't steal your future outright. It trades it for temporary relief, and that trade always looks fair in the moment. But years later, when opportunities have passed and potential has expired, you realize the exchange was never equal. Comfort asked for little at a time, and time quietly handed it everything. Most people misunderstand freedom. They think freedom comes from having more options, more money, more time, or more comfort. But real freedom is built long before it is experienced. Freedom is the reward for discipline, and discipline always demands a price up front. The irony is this: the very choices that feel restrictive today are the ones that create unlimited options tomorrow. Here's a hook that reframes everything. Short-term pleasure feels like freedom, but it quietly locks you in place. Long-term discipline feels like restriction, but it slowly removes every limitation. Every undisciplined choice you make gives you momentary relief and permanent consequences. Every disciplined choice you make gives you temporary discomfort and lasting control over your life. Discipline is not about punishment, it's about direction. It's choosing what you want most over what you want now. Most people fail this test not because they don't know what to do, but because pleasure is immediate and freedom is delayed. Time magnifies that delay, and only those who can tolerate it ever reach the other side. Short-term pleasure is seductive because it offers a reward without effort. Eat now, rest now, scroll now, avoid now. Discipline interrupts that impulse. Discipline says no to the urge so it can say yes to the outcome. And every time you practice that delay, you strengthen your authority over yourself. Self-control is the foundation of all external success. Here's the uncomfortable truth. People who chase pleasure end up serving it. They become reactive instead of intentional. Their days are shaped by cravings, moods, and distractions. Discipline flips that relationship. When you choose discipline, pleasure becomes a reward, not a ruler. You decide when and how you enjoy instead of being controlled by impulse. Freedom is not the absence of structure. It is the result of structure. Athletes, entrepreneurs, and high performers live by routines that look restrictive to the undisciplined. But those routines buy them freedom of choice later. Discipline narrows your focus today so your life can expand tomorrow. Time honors that trade every single time. Here's a hook that cuts deep. Every shortcut you take today extends the road you'll have to walk tomorrow. Pleasure always wants the shortcut. Discipline always takes the long road. And the long road is the one that leads somewhere. Time rewards the path that compounds, not the one that feels good at the start. Discipline also protects you from regret. Regret is the tax paid for repeated comfort. When you look back and realize you chose ease over effort, the pain is far greater than the discomfort you were trying to avoid. Discipline hurts once. Regret hurts repeatedly. Time magnifies whichever one you choose. Most people believe discipline limits their joy. In reality, discipline refines it. When pleasure is earned, it's enjoyed without guilt. When freedom is built, it's experienced without fear. Discipline removes chaos from your life, and chaos is the real enemy of peace. Order creates calm. Structure creates confidence. Here's another hook. Freedom is rented with discipline, and the rent is due daily. You don't pay once and keep it forever. You either maintain discipline or slowly lose the freedom it created. Time doesn't preserve results, it tests them. Discipline is how you pass that test again and again. The people who win are not the ones who avoided discomfort. They are the ones who used it strategically. They endured pain on purpose so they wouldn't live in limitation by default. Discipline is not about being harsh. It's about being honest with what the future will require. When you consistently choose long-term freedom over short-term pleasure, something powerful happens. You stop negotiating with yourself. You stop asking for permission from your emotions. You become someone who does what needs to be done, regardless of how it feels. And once that identity is formed, time stops being an obstacle and starts becoming an accelerator. Most people want to believe that their feelings are the compass for their life. They think if they feel motivated, then they're on the right path. If they feel confident, then they must be doing something right. But feelings are not leaders. They are followers. Feelings respond to what you repeatedly do, not what you wish for. And here is the hook. If you let feelings guide your decisions, you will end up living a life shaped by moods, not by principles. That is how dreams become delayed and potential becomes wasted. Feelings are unstable. They change with the weather, with your sleep, with your environment, with your energy, and with your mood. One day you feel unstoppable, and the next day you feel weak. If you base your progress on something that fluctuates, your progress will fluctuate too. That's why the majority of people are inconsistent. They don't lack talent or opportunity. They lack a stable system that is bigger than their emotions. Principles don't change. Principles are constant. And time rewards consistency. Here's a powerful hook. Feelings are not proof that you're on the right path. They are evidence that you are human. You can feel scared and still move forward. You can feel uncertain and still make progress. You can feel tired and still win. The difference between winners and wishers is not that winners never feel doubt. Winners simply do not let doubt decide their actions. Principles do. Principles are the rules you live by. They are the values you refuse to compromise. They are the standards you set for yourself regardless of how you feel. When your life is built on principles, discipline becomes easier because it is no longer a negotiation. It is simply what you do. You don't ask yourself if you feel like it. You do it because you respect the standard you set. Time rewards that kind of consistency because it creates momentum that can't be stopped by temporary emotions. Feelings A, we often use as excuses. I'm not feeling it today. I don't feel motivated. I don't feel ready. These statements sound harmless, but they are dangerous because they give your emotions authority over your life. When you say, I don't feel like it, you are saying, my feelings are my boss. That is a recipe for a life that never fulfills its potential. Time doesn't reward feelings. Time rewards actions repeated over time, even when the feelings are absent. Here's another hook that hits hard. You can feel bad and still do good. You can feel weak and still build strength. You can feel lost and still make progress. If you wait for your feelings to align with your goals, you will always be waiting. Time is not going to pause until you feel ready. It will keep moving, and you will either move with it or get left behind. The people who win in life are the ones who refuse to wait for emotional permission. Principles create stability. Stability creates trust. When you consistently follow your principles, you build trust in yourself. That trust becomes your motivation. It becomes your internal engine. When you know you can count on yourself, you don't need to rely on your feelings. You become reliable, and reliability is one of the most powerful forces in life. Time rewards reliability because it is the foundation of progress. Here is the hook that most people ignore. Success is not about how you feel when you start. Success is about what you do when you want to quit. Principles keep you anchored when emotions are shaking you. Principles are the rope that holds you steady while the storm passes. And time rewards those who stay anchored. So stop letting your emotions drive your life. Let your principles lead. Let your standards guide you. Build a life based on values that do not change with your mood. Because feelings are temporary, but principles are permanent. And time rewards permanence, not temporary emotions. Consistency is the quiet force that separates people who talk about success from people who live it. Most people think success is a sudden breakthrough, a big opportunity, or a lucky moment. But time doesn't reward big moments. Time rewards small actions repeated consistently. That is the hook most people miss. The most powerful thing you can do is not work harder once. It's work the same way every day. Consistency turns ordinary effort into extraordinary results because time multiplies habits, not intensity. Here's the truth that most people don't want to hear. Talent is not the primary factor. Talent is the starting point. Consistency is the engine. You can be the most talented person in the room and still fail if you don't show up daily. Consistency is what turns skill into mastery and mastery into results. Time rewards repetition because repetition builds momentum. Momentum builds confidence. Confidence builds power. That is how consistency becomes the foundation of success. Consistency is not about doing something perfectly every time. It is about showing up even when you're not perfect. It's about staying in the game when motivation fades. The people who win are not those who always feel motivated. They are those who remain committed. They understand that motivation is temporary, but commitment is long-term. And time rewards commitment because it is the only thing that can withstand the unpredictable nature of life. Here's a hook. Consistency is a form of discipline that doesn't require motivation. Motivation is the spark. Consistency is the fire. You don't need to feel inspired to be consistent. You need to be dedicated. Consistency is the daily investment that compounds. You may not see the impact today, but time is recording your effort and building your future behind the scenes. Time always pays back what you consistently deposit. Consistency also creates credibility. In any area of life, business, relationships, health, personal growth, people notice who is reliable. The world is full of people who talk a big game, but the people who win are the ones who are consistent. When you show up every day, you build a reputation that becomes a magnet. Opportunities begin to find you. People trust you. Doors open because time has seen your consistency and decided you're worth investing in. Another powerful hook is this. Consistency is a promise to yourself. It is a commitment to your future. When you remain consistent, you are saying, I am worth the effort. That belief changes your identity. Your identity is not built on what you say you want. It is built on what you consistently do. Time rewards identity because identity drives behavior. If you consistently act like a disciplined person, you become one. If you consistently act like someone who gives up, you become that too. Consistency is also how you beat resistance. Resistance is the force that tries to stop you when things get hard. It is the voice that says, you've done enough. It is the temptation to relax before the job is finished. Consistency beats resistance because it trains your mind to keep going. Every time you push through resistance, you strengthen your ability to push through it again. Time rewards the person who doesn't surrender to resistance. Here's the hook that will change your approach. Consistency is not about intensity. It is about reliability. A burst of effort is like a single lightning strike. It's powerful, but it doesn't last. Consistency is like the sun rising every day. It creates predictable results over time. Time doesn't reward bursts. It rewards a steady pace. The most successful people in the world are not the most intense. They are the most consistent. Consistency also protects you from regret. When you look back years from now, you won't remember the days you felt motivated. You will remember the days you showed up. You will remember the habits you maintained. Time rewards those habits. Time reveals the truth about who you were committed to becoming. And that truth is shaped by consistency. So if you want success, stop waiting for motivation. Stop searching for a better mood. Stop looking for a perfect moment. Consistency is not waiting for the right conditions. It's creating the right conditions by showing up anyway. Time rewards what you repeat, not what you promise. Consistency is the bridge between your dreams and your reality. Time is impartial, relentless, and unforgiving. It does not negotiate, it does not excuse, and it does not care about your intentions, talents, or promises. Most people operate as if time is an ally that will wait for them to get ready, for them to feel motivated, or for circumstances to be perfect. Here's the hook: time never waits. Every second that passes is either working for you or against you, and every choice you make determines which side you are on. Time will judge your actions without mercy, and it does so every single day. Here's the uncomfortable truth: excuses do not change the clock. Complaints do not pause the calendar. Delays do not rewind the hours. Time does not care about your potential, it cares about your execution. Every moment you spend procrastinating, avoiding responsibility, or chasing comfort, time continues to move, silently recording the outcome of your choices. Time is a mirror reflecting the sum of your habits and decisions. If you're not disciplined, time will expose it. Most people think talent or luck will protect them from the consequences of inaction. They believe that opportunities will continue to present themselves until they are ready. But time doesn't reward belief, it rewards action. Time multiplies effort, discipline, and consistency, and it compounds neglect, laziness, and indecision. That is why some people look back 5 years later and wonder where it all went. The answer is simple. Time rewarded everyone, but not everyone was ready to collect. Here's the hook: time is neutral, but it is not passive. It actively separates the prepared from the unprepared. Every habit you form, every decision you make, every action you take or fail to take is being scored by time. Skipped opportunities, avoided challenges, and ignored responsibilities all have a cost that time will deliver. There is no negotiation, no appeals, and no extensions. Time simply delivers results based on patterns, and the patterns you choose today are the legacy you will live with tomorrow. Time also exposes truth. It has a way of showing what really matters. When you face setbacks, failures, or unexpected challenges, time reveals whether your discipline is real or whether your preparation was superficial. It exposes who was serious and who was just pretending. And here's the hook: the earlier you understand that time is a judge, the better you can act while you still have control over the outcome. Every day you delay, the judgment is only becoming more inevitable. Another truth: procrastination feels harmless in the moment, but it compounds pain in the long run. Time does not forgive wasted hours, lost days, or ignored responsibilities. Every second spent avoiding work, running from discipline, or seeking comfort is a debt that will come due. The longer you wait, the heavier the consequences. Time does not care about excuses, it only cares about results. Here's the hook that changes perspective: you can't manipulate time, but you can direct your actions within it. You can't slow it down, but you can choose to maximize every minute. You can't control what the world gives you, but you can control what you put in. Time will judge your decisions with perfect accuracy. It will reveal who was disciplined and who was complacent. It will reward action and expose inaction. The most successful people understand that time is the ultimate metric of truth. They know that showing up consistently, acting decisively, and refusing to defer responsibility is how they get paid by time. They don't wait for perfect conditions. They don't wait for the right mood. They show up, they act, they persist, and time multiplies that effort into results. That is the power of being intentional. Here's the final hook: time is the silent witness of your life. Every habit, every choice, every action is recorded. Time does not forget. It does not forgive. It simply delivers what your actions deserve. You can't negotiate with it, you can't pause it, and you can't retrieve it once it's gone. Time will reward discipline and expose comfort, and the moment you understand that, you begin to use it as your greatest ally instead of your relentless judge. So here's my challenge to you: stop asking how long it will take and start asking how serious you are. Comfort will give you excuses. Discipline will give you receipts. 5 years from now, time is going to reward you anyway. The only question is, will it reward your discipline or expose your comfort? Choose discipline. Not because it's easy, but because your future deserves it.